Hello students, this is Mr. Damiani, and today we're going to be looking at lesson 2.7, and the topic for today's lesson is dividing fractions. What I'd like everybody to do is make sure that you have a separate piece of paper available, pencil ready to go, making sure you are being fit while you prepare to watch this video. So all distractions gone, nice and relaxed, ready to go. The essential question for today is how do you divide fractions? So at the end of this lesson, you should have a decent idea of a strategy or an approach that you can use to divide with fractions, and you would include that within your summary. I'd like everybody now to go ahead and turn to page 108 and put your eyes down at the bottom of the screen there. And you're going to notice that there is an example. So this is the example that we're going to work on in order to teach how to divide with fractions. So please follow along while I read the problem. Winnie needs pieces of string for a craft project. How many 1/12 yard pieces of string can she cut from a piece that is 3/4 yard long? All right, so Winnie needs pieces of string for a craft project. The key pieces of information here is this 1/12 yard pieces. She's cutting them equal sections from a 3/4 yard long piece. So what we're going to be doing is taking that 3/4 of a yard and chunking it up into smaller pieces for the craft project. What that's going to do is that's going to give me the order for the division statement. And you'll notice here that 3/4 comes first, divided by 1/12. So you take the whole that you have, which is 3/4 yard, and you divide it by the equal part, and the equal part here are the pieces of the string. Now the first strategy we'd like to apply here would be an estimate, and then we're going to see if our answer is close to our estimate to decide if it is reasonable. So we're going to take that 3/4 like we did in video lesson 2.6. We're going to round that to a whole number. It's closer to the whole. And we're going to leave the 1/12 as is. We're going to say to ourselves, okay, how many 1/12 pieces are in a whole? And that would be an answer of 12 because 12/12 actually is equal to 1. So our estimate of 12. All right, we're now going to take the problem here. 3/4 divided by 1/12 equals, and we're going to follow this little key here. And it says use the reciprocal of the divisor to write a multiplication problem. Well, a reciprocal, which is a key piece of vocabulary here, located at the top of page 108, is when you take a fraction and flip the denominator with the numerator. So if we're looking at 1/2, if I want the reciprocal of 1/2, it's going to be a 2/1. The technical name for that is multiplicative inverse. That means if you take a number and multiply it by its reciprocal, you're going to get an answer of 1 every single time. Okay, so that is what multiplicative inverse is, and that's that higher level vocabulary term. We will use the word reciprocal more often than not. So we're going to take the division problem and we're going to write it as a multiplication problem using the reciprocal of our divisor, which is the second number in our sentence. So 3/4 divided by 1/12 equals 3/4 times 12/1. And if I had this problem in front of me, what I would end up doing is I would take that 3/4 divided by 1/12, and I would think to myself, keep, change, flip. Keep meaning I take the 3/4 and I keep it. Change meaning I change that down to multiplication, and I flip or get the reciprocal of 1/12, which is 12/1. And then I would multiply that through. Okay, so then looking at the 3/4 times 12/1, all right, we're going to divide out some common factors here. So you'll notice I divided out a 4 here. That gives me a 1. I have to divide out by 4 here, and that gives me a 3. So I am left with 3/1 times 3/1, which gives me an answer of 9/1, which equals 9. All right, and again, showing it again. If I had it in front of me and I was working it out, I would have divided out by 4, got a 1, divided by 4, got a 3, get 9/1, which equals 9. Just showing you it one more time. So 1/12, all right, now we're going to want to check our answer here. So 9 is close to 12, so we'd say our answer is reasonable. However, let's check our work, and I'm going to check my answer in blue here. So I'm going to take the 1/12, multiply it by my answer of 9, and that gives me 9, it gives me 9/12 reduced down to an answer of 3/4. Okay, so biggest thing to remember when dividing with fractions, we want to always multiply by reciprocals. Okay. I would include that in my summary. Whoop. And keep, change, flip. Great little tool to remember that process here. So cleaning things up, since the estimate is 12, the answer is reasonable. So Winnie can cut 9 1/12 yard pieces of string. All right, what I'd like you to do now is go ahead and turn to page 109. Scrolling up here. And on page 109, you'll notice we're going to jump down to questions 4, 5, 6, 7. Might look a little bit on your own section as well. So I am on page 109. All right, so we're going to get through a couple examples here and be done. So directions: estimate, then write the quotient in simplest form. So the first task we're going to complete is to create an estimate based on lesson 2.6. Then we're going to actually perform the division and see how they compare. So let's start with question 4 here. On question 4, I say, okay, I've got 3/4. Here's my estimating piece here. 3/4 is going to be rounded to a 1, divided by 5/6, which is going to be rounded to a 1, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. So my first answer here is an estimate of 1. Now we're going to take that problem and actually work it out using our division rules. So I'm going to start with 3/4 divided by 5/6. We are going to go with keep, change, and flip. So I'm going to keep the 3/4. Actually, you know what? I should do this in, I'm going to go ahead and do this in blue here so you can see the work that's needed here. So I'm going to keep the 3/4. I'm going to change to multiplication, and I'm going to flip to 6/5. So now I have 3/4 times 6/5. We're going to multiply out here, and I have a common factor. Remember, we can reduce tops and bottoms here. I can't do anything with the 3 and the 4, but I can reduce by 2 with the 4 and the 6. So I'm going to go ahead and divide out a 2 here and get a 2, and divide out a 2 here, gives me a 3. That now leaves me with 3 times 3, which is 9, and 2 times 5, which is 10, an answer of 9/10, which is close to the whole. That is how you complete question 4. What I'd like you to do now is go ahead and pause the video here, and I want you to try to complete question 6 on your own. Then we'll go over it, and we'll move on to the next one. Go ahead and pause it up. Thank you. All right, thanks for taking the time to pause that video, and let's see what we get for question 6. The first step here is to estimate. So we have 1/2 divided by 3/4. My estimation piece here would leave me with 1/2 divided by 1, which any number divided by 1 is itself. So we should have an estimate of 1/2. And let's go ahead and do the actual division here. So I have 1/2 divided by 3/4 divided by 3/4. Sorry about that, my board is acting up on me here. All right, we should be squared away now. So I'm going to take that 1/2 and I'm going to divide it by the 3/4, just setting up my work. And we're going to apply keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep the 1/2, change, and flip to 4/3. Then I look at the problem and I say, okay, is there anything I could divide out? And I notice I have a top and a bottom with a 2 and a 4. So I'm going to divide out a 2 here and get a 1. divide out a 2 here, and get a 2. So that's going to leave me with 1 times 2 on the top, which is 2. 1 times 3 on the bottom, which is 3. And a final answer of 2/3. All right, 2/3, 1/2, pretty close together. All right, so we're going to do one more here. And I'd like everybody to put their eyes down to question 8. And I'd like you to take the time, complete question 8 on your own, and check your answers, and we're going to wrap this video up. Thank you. All right, thanks for taking the time to pause the video and complete question 8. And here is what I'd like to do. We're going to estimate, so 2 divided by 1/8, sorry. For every hole, there's going to be 8/8. I have 2 holes, so 8 plus 8. My estimate here is going to be an answer of 16. Let's work out the actual here. So I have 2 over 1, remember to give it a bottom, divided by 1/8. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Equals, well, I look at this, I have 2 1s on the bottom. That works out nice. 16 over 1. So my actual answer here would be also 16. Matched up perfectly. All right, thanks for taking the time to watch the video here. Remember, we always want to write a nice hot question using your flip chart. Hit on all your key ideas, keep, change, flip, multiply by the reciprocal, all that good stuff in your summary. So I hope everybody has a great evening, and we will see you in class. Goodbye.